Hi guys, it's me Deepak. If you are new here, I'm a mathematics student and I usually make videos about productivity, study with me, and then something related to studies, and usually make some journaling of my life and everything. Yeah, so today's video I'm going to speak about how to study mathematics effectively. So before entering into the video, I just want to give some disclaimer that it is not a scientifically proven method. It is something that I usually do or that I understand based on the years that I study mathematics. So actually I just suggest you to follow these things, but if you are not okay with it or if you have better ideas, then do mention that in the comment section. I would like to hear from you. So before that, I just want to tell you guys that this video is going to be separated into 3 different parts. So the first part is going to be about what are all the methods that we should not use to study mathematics. So it is, I'm saying, based on my experiences or whatever you can say. So the second thing is what are all the methods that we can usually use to study mathematics. So, and the last method is how I personally study mathematics. The timestamp is mentioned in the description. So if you want to skip around the chapters, you can definitely do that. Let's get into the video. Okay, the first thing is what are all the methods that we should not use to study mathematics. I see most of my friends usually use these 3 methods to study for their examinations or whatever you can say. So the first thing is they revise a lot, and the second thing is they do restudy, and the third thing is they do binge watching the lectures. I personally feel that these 3 methods are very ineffective. So here is the reason why. So basically mathematics is an art, right? So at least for me, it is an art. We have to understand how the art works. So for example, if you want to learn dancing, then you cannot learn dance by mere watching the dancing lectures, right? So you have to do practice and you have to at least try something. Then only you can at least start dancing. So if I simply watch the lectures of dancing, then definitely I cannot expect that I could be a good dancer. So which is not even possible. So this is the same thing that mathematics also holds. So mathematics is an art. If you want to be good at an art, definitely have to practice a lot than binge watching a lecture. So I suggest you to watch a lecture, and I too prefer watching the lecture over reading the book. But the thing here is, mere watching the lecture didn't give you any result as comparing to practicing the thing. So I suggest you to practice more than simply watching the lectures. So this is the mistake that most of the people do, at least the people in my circle. So they simply restudy, revise, and rewatch the lecture. But I think you could stop doing that if you want to improve your studies. Yeah, so this takes us to the next chapter. What are all the methods that we can use to study mathematics? The first thing is taking notes. I personally love taking notes. The reason is I usually don't read books because I love watching the lectures of mathematicians, especially many premier institute mathematics professors. So I watch the lectures and I take the notes. So the notes basically consist of what are all the things that I understand and what are all the things that I don't understand and what are all the things that I have to understand. So my notes consist of all these 3 things, and then I structure my notes in such a way that it will incorporate every details. For example, if the professor explains me a theorem, I'll write the theorem, I'll write why he uses the idea of proving the theorem in such a way that he is doing in that video, and what are all the things that we could do, all the possibilities that we can experiment in that theorem. So I'll write those things, and I'll also mention that if I try something and if it end up in a vein, I'll also mention why it is not working out there. So basically understand everything. So it is like approaching in a 360 degree. So my notes consist of all those things. So I personally love taking notes. Of course, there is a demerits of these things. The first thing is basically it take a lot of time. So if you just want to read a book and take a notes in a book means it will take less time. But if you want to take a separate notes while reading or while watching a lecture, then definitely it will take a lot of time, because I will take a rough note and I will have to fare that notes for my future academic purpose. So for that I have to spend most of my time, but usually I love doing that and I'm still doing that thing. So I love taking notes. So basically you can also try taking a note, usually neat, clean, structured notes. If you're not good at taking notes, and if you don't want to take a note, it's completely fine. So there is nothing wrong about that. But personally I love taking notes. So that's what I'm saying. And second thing is practice more. See, I already said that mathematics is an art, at least for me. So for that you have to practice more. The more you practice, the more better you can be. So yeah, definitely you have to practice more to learn mathematics in better way. If you study 100 times, I think studying a particular topic more than 100 times is very ineffective when compared to practicing the problems in that topic. For me, practicing a topic is far more important than studying the topic more than once. The third thing is learn ideas and intuition. So personally, I love that, and this is the way I personally study mathematics, or you can say approach mathematical concepts. Instead of understanding the theorem and the proof, try to understand the idea behind the theorem and the idea behind the proof. Why the author particularly mentioning this kind of proof? What is the good thing about this? What are the things that we can do apart from this proof? So you can basically experiment many things, but the only thing that you have to keep in mind is you should not memorize the proof, but you have to understand the idea of a proof and you have to keep it in your mind. The question that I will ask is, why the author using method of contradiction? Can we use principle of mathematical induction, or can we use any other method of proving? Why he is using that particular method? Maybe principle of mathematical induction cannot be used in that proof, so I'll understand that idea in that place, and then so I'll try to understand the intuition behind the proof. So what he is trying to say in order to prove a particular thing, what is the way he is taking to approach the conclusion. In simple, we all have a different stories and we can narrate in very different manner. For example, let's say A is a person, he's going to fetch water from a pond and he's going back to the home. So this is the story that can be narrated in different ways. One can say it in a linear way, one can say it in a non-linear way. So there are many different ways. Similarly, in order to approach a proof, what is the path taken by the author and why he is taking particular path? So that is the main thing that we have to understand while learning the proof. So I won't say studying a proof, but learning a proof. So finally, this is the last part. So in this part, I'm going to tell how I study mathematics. So this is a personal, maybe let's say personal documentary. Maybe it is wrong. If you are good at mathematics and you have very better idea to study mathematics, definitely comment that in the comment section. I'll read that and I'll try to update in my studying routine also. So basically, first I'll understand what the subject is all about. So if it is a linear algebra under let's say transformations, I will study what is a transformation, why we are studying that, what are all the real time applications and where we are using that, what are all the concepts associated with the transformations, and sometimes why the particular topic is under linear algebra. So I ask these kind of questions and come to a conclusion, and I will get some insights that this topic is all about this thing. So I'll get some overview. I know nothing about the chapter, I know nothing about the specific things, but I know the overview of the chapter. Okay, so it is like putting the dots over there. My job is to connect all those dots in such a way that I can understand the concepts better, so that I can remember that long, and I can get some happiness while studying the subject, right? So first thing, I just put the dots over here. So it is like understanding the overview of the chapter. The second thing is go through the definitions and theorems. So basically, for a mathematics student, we have to understand the definitions very clearly, because if you don't understand the definition very clearly, maybe if you go higher and higher and higher, you will feel shattered, because you don't understand the foundation very clearly, right? So it will be dangerous to you at any situation. So for me, you have to understand the definition and the statement of a theorem very clearly. You have to understand the conditions, you have to remember those conditions. You study Rolle's theorem, you have to understand what are the conditions mentioned here. You have to understand the continuity, you have to understand the differentiability. You should not forget that in any situation. So that is the main thing that I wish to remember, and that is the main thing that I have to remember as a mathematics student. Okay, so once I understand the overview of a subject and understanding the definition and theorem, the third thing is I'll try to understand the idea behind the proof. For me, proving is an art. Yes, proving is an art. Anyone can do that. If you are very bad at that, you can learn that. But proving is an art. So we cannot memorize the proof. We cannot simply mug up the proof. So the main thing is you have to understand the idea behind the proof. So why the proof is written in such a way? So you have to understand the idea behind that, and you have to understand the intuition behind the proof. So I think the mathematics professor definitely give you the intuition and the motivation to learn the proof. As a mathematics student, we have to grasp that intuition, we have to grasp that idea, and we have to replicate that while writing another proof of a similar theorem or similar problem. Maybe that is the duty of a mathematics student, right? So that is the third thing I'll do. So of course it sounds like I'm learning mathematics in a fine way, but definitely it is not the case. Definitely I make many mistakes. I learn very slowly. I'm not that much good enough to explain these things, but I'm saying this because I made many mistakes over my entire college life. If you have any other suggestions apart from this, definitely you can comment that. I'll definitely love to read those comments, and I just want to update my mathematics way of learning. And so that's it. That's all about the video. And before ending the video, I just want to tell you a few things. The first thing is, this is the first video I just make in English. So definitely I may make many grammatical mistakes. I may make many, silly mistakes, wrong pronunciation, and then some misplaced words. Definitely I will improve that in my upcoming videos. If you find any mistakes, feel free to comment that in the comment section. I'll read that and I will update in my next videos, and I will upgrade myself also. Definitely it will be useful for me to upgrade. So yeah, help me to learn and I'll help you to learn. So that's it. It's a give and take policy, I think so. Yeah, before winding up the video, I just want to tell you a few suggestions. I don't like reading the book, so I love watching the lectures. I know most of the mathematics people love reading book, but I personally love watching lectures because everything is free in YouTube, right? So I love watching the lectures instead of reading the books. But I also wish to shift from watching the lecture to reading the books. The main reason is books will give less distractions to you. Books will give enormous knowledge to you. And the third thing is books have plenty of problems, so you can solve many problems from the book. I won't say don't watch lectures. I will say even though you watch the lectures, just read the book. So that is very important. I also wish to do the same thing. Yeah, this is the suggestion that I also wish to give it to you and also wish to give it to me. And definitely I will work on this thing and I will let you know in the future videos. So yeah, that's all about the things, guys. If you have any other things, if you want to share with me any other thing, definitely you can do that in the comment section and I'll love to read your words. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. If you find this video useful, kindly share it with your mathematics student and catch you in the next video. Yeah, bye. Until then, it's me, Deepak.